Hey there, and welcome back to another Daredevil Born Again episode review. And today we're going to be talking about one of the two latest episodes to drop in the double release from this week. First up, we have episode 5, With Interest. This episode's hugely different to what we've previously seen in this show. It's sort of a St. Patrick's Day special type of episode, really. It's almost fully self-contained. Yes, there are references to other story threads in this season, but it's largely on its own. It's a standalone. I wasn't sure how to feel about it at first, to tell you the truth. However, the further we went through it, the more I felt like it was a nice breath of fresh air. It was still brutal in parts, but it also didn't feel as crushingly bleak as the show's been getting in order to build up Matt's return as Daredevil. It was a great palate cleanser episode, a fun side quest before we get into the main drama again. We start off the episode with Matt in a bank about to have a meeting with the manager about securing a loan for the firm. Turns out that the manager's running late that day due to an emergency, which means that Matt has to speak to somebody else. Yusuf Khan, the father of Kamala Khan, aka Ms. Marvel. I love this, to be honest. It was a lot of fun. I really love when you have all these crossovers between the different Marvel properties. It's fun when it's a hero team up, but I also really love seeing the different side characters or even villains and how they interact with different heroes. Yusuf was a very fun character in Ms. Marvel, and he just brings a lot of levity to the opening of this scene with his little jokes and his kindness. I really liked that when he asked if Matt wanted a candy, he rustled the bowl so he could understand perhaps what type of candy was on offer and where it was. It just added a lot to the scene and to his character. They also have some America-centric banter about Jersey City, which I didn't really understand much, although I do note that many TV shows set in New York seem to shit all over Jersey City and New Jersey in general, so I guess there's some sort of rivalry there. Either way, the scene's pretty much just them having a chat, and Matt having his loan request rejected. I love these little scenes and the team-ups. They make the MCU feel like a living, breathing world. Matt leaves and calls Kirsten, but as he does, some Irish goons turn up ready to rob the bank, mentioning getting $1.8 million and getting Fisk off of Luca's back, so I guess these guys work for Mr. Tracksuit. They burst into the bank wearing colour-coded balaclavas as if they're a very violent Wiggles tribute act, and they beat the shit out of a guard, and a bank teller, and then some random guy that tries to fight back against the dudes with machine guns, because that's of course the smart thing to do. He's lucky he didn't get killed, to be honest. Yusuf tries to call the cops but fails because it seems the phone lines and electricity are all out across the building. And so the hostages are all forced to their knees in the middle of the lobby. The scene goes rapidly from intense to very funny though, as Matt enters the building whistling as he goes on with his day like nothing at all's wrong. I have to say, I love it when Matt plays up the innocent and harmless blind man routine. Hello? Who's there? It's always a good laugh. Here, Matt starts to hone in on all the heartbeats of the different hostages and captors. And I did notice that the episode even gives you a hint that the woman is in on it from the very beginning, showing how the hearts of all the hostages are racing, except for hers. Pretty clever. The lead thug then gives the usual speech about how if they do what they're told, then everything's going to turn out just fine, and if not, they're going to get shot. Matt speaks up about how that would lead to an increase in the sentences, they'd be upgrading to felony murder, and he gets walloped for it. Ooh, that looked painful. I really enjoy that he is a flawed hero, in that sometimes he just can't resist pushing back when he really shouldn't. He just loves to talk shit sometimes, like when he was picking a fight with the dirty cop after Hector was murdered. Green and Red go off to talk about how it doesn't make any sense the police have arrived so fast, as it didn't seem like anybody had tripped the alarm. Of course, they don't know that Kirsten called the cops after Matt overheard the beginning of the heist when he was walking down the street. And of course, they have no idea that he can hear them now. The plan is for Green to handle the cops, Red is to guard the hostages, and Blue is going to take Yusuf down to the vault to open it, as despite not being able to do so because he doesn't have the codes as he's only the assistant manager, he said that he could because he was afraid of being beaten or shot. Whoops. Yeah, fair enough though. I feel like a lot of people would simply tell the masked bank robbers what they want to hear in the moment rather than risk being shot. Long-term thinking is probably not playing a massive role. Don't worry though, because Matt clearly has a plan and instructs Yusuf to stall Blue for as long as he can. Man, when I heard that there was going to be team-ups in this show, I was not expecting that it was going to be Matt, as in Matt, not Daredevil, and Yusuf Khan. In a way, this episode is a bit of a fever dream, but I'm loving it. The police hostage negotiator that we saw way back in episode 1 talking to Cherry at his retirement turns up and begins speaking to Green over the phone. And I suppose here we should acknowledge that this guy is a really compelling villain, and a great actor. The banter between him and Detective Kim was rather funny. Hell, this episode is really just a great showcase of a lot of minor characters and actors that you probably aren't going to see much of again. On the surface, that sounds like a strange concept for an episode, but it really works here, doesn't it? As a show of good faith, the crooks decide to release 2 hostages early, with Green initially choosing a woman and Matt to depart early, but Matt continually says that he should let the woman take her husband instead. A really great scene filled with so much tension. The green masked guy really plays it so well. His voice, it oozes with this violent and unpredictable nature. Part of me thought that Matt was accidentally going to get one of the others shot because of this. although that might have been a bit dark for this episode concept. Also, I did find it funny that the Irish guy was asking where the American dude's from, as in what part of Ireland. I feel like that scene was written by an American, because every time I see Irish people talking about Americans online, it is to complain that they're claiming their Irish heritage too liberally and overzealously, and saying that this is where they're actually from, as opposed to America. It just seems rather strange to me. Blue takes Yusuf down to the vault, and Matt asks Red if he can take him to the toilet. For some reason, instead of saying tough shit, a hostage taker actually allows this and heads off with Matt to take him to the restroom. If I was Red Mask, I'd be telling Matt to go to the nearest pot plant and pee there. They didn't have time for this. Then we come to some real awesome stuff. The fight between Red Mask and Matt. No music, just brawling. Very intense, although I do wonder if all these people have chins that are made of steel. The amount of punishment that people that fight Matt get is insane, and yet they're still coming back for more and more and more. For a proper villain or named character, I do get it. You don't want to be anticlimactic, but this dude got his head smashed into the metal banister and he just shrugs it off and keeps fighting like nothing happened. That said, Matt choking him out with his legs while sliding down the stairs to catch the shotgun was so epic that I don't think it's a massive complaint to have anyway. Rule of cool should trump realistic fights. Just as Blue Mask looks like he's going to kill Yusuf, as after he asked for a snack and then asked what day of the week it was, he realized that he didn't actually know the combo. Matt swoops in and knocks him out with one blow. Then he proceeds to imitate his voice and trick the ringleader as to his identity. I'll be honest, that felt a little bit forced, considering they all seem to know each other before the heist. They all work for Luca, they're all Irish, so I figured they'd be a little sub-gang. Thus, he should know who he sent and what their voice sounds like, shouldn't they? Neither sounded like Matt doing an Irish impression. Oh well, moving on, we continue to have some wholesome dialogue between Yusuf and Matt. Whilst at the same time, Matt casually cracks a nearly uncrackable safe with extreme ease and speed before he and Yusuf start to work their way through the safety deposit boxes to find which one the criminals were looking for. Their only clue being a faded 4 they still have on one of the keys. We then start building to the big climax of the episode. Since he knows that the safe should be open very soon, Green wants to start to move things along. He demands that their vehicles are delivered pronto, or he's going to start killing hostages. But not before he asks Officer Kim to tell him a joke to buy more time, just for a bit of fun. And the joke's actually legitimately good. It took me off guard, had a great punchline with good and realistic banter by Green picking on her attempt at an Irish accent. It just felt with these two characters especially, they were managing to capture how actual people speak to each other. Often TV shows will have characters say things in a way that nobody would ever say in real life. But here it felt more natural, if you get what I mean. It's then back over to Matt and Yusuf. They have a bit more of a conversation with Matt comforting and reassuring him that everything's going to be a-okay. That's another thing I love about Matt in this show. He's just a really personable guy. So many heroes are quirky and quippy and kind of rude or snarky. Either that or they don't bother to hone in on the personality outside of being a hero. Here, they do take that time and pretty much always have him be friendly and compassionate. Him comforting Yusuf and telling him he will see his daughter again was just so sweet. Matt and Yusuf then manage to open the deposit box and get out the diamond. Here it all starts to go to shit though. They have 10 minutes until the hostages are going to start being shot. And this means that they've run out of time. The NYPD decides they're not waiting anymore, and that they're going to storm the building, which means that Matt needs to jump in before everything can go to shit, with innocent people potentially getting shot and killed. Matt goes up and begins his own negotiation and stalling process. Tell you what, Matt is damn lucky here. Aren't these the same Irish dudes that shot those guys in the truck a couple of episodes ago? Once he sees he has a diamond and is stalling, why wouldn't he just shoot, or at least try to approach him to take it off him? Felt a bit plot armory for my taste, but oh well. Sometimes the writing has to put its finger on the scale so you can get some more awesome stuff. Once again, the rule of cool has to prevail. I'm here to watch a blind dude whoop ass with his super senses. I'm not here for realism. Matt tosses Green the diamond, who takes it and runs into an office as the police burst in. This was actually pretty clever, to tell you the truth, having him have a police officer uniform under his clothes so he could just walk out into the chaos and not get questioned about who he is and what he's doing. Meanwhile, Purple gets taken without a fight, whilst Yellow hides behind a pillar shooting out at the cops, only for Matt to come up behind him and absolutely destroy him. Oh god, that part was so cool. I love effortless takedowns. Sometimes you want to see the drawn-out struggles. Sometimes you want to see the goons get obliterated. Speaking of the struggle, after Matt hears Green give that woman who was a fake hostage the diamond to take the Luca, he in turn fakes an injury and plays up the scared blind man act in order to get the police to let him leave, only for him to follow Green, pull out the red mask he took from the first goon he destroyed, and for them to begin to fight. My god, this was a good fight. Great struggle, wasn't too long, and was especially brutal. He glasses the guy, and then snaps his leg by jumping on it. Ooh, that was hard to watch. I knew it was coming from the trailer, but still, this was just so gruesome. This is the scene that ties it all back together to the main series as well, since here is where we see him drift ever closer to a proper return as Daredevil, going out of his way to hunt down the robber, even though he clearly didn't need to. The The guy got away, yes, but Matt knows the woman has a candy and not the actual diamond. Thus, there's not really much more this guy can do. Instead, he goes out of his way to hunt him and destroy him. I honestly would have expected more internal conflict from him, based on how he's acted before when he gets physical in the last couple of episodes. We then finish with a wholesome scene of Yusuf and Matt chatting in the bank the next day, or a couple of days later. They're discussing the aftermath of the case and how the diamond hadn't been found, with Yusuf also inviting Matt to his house for dinner at some point, where he can help him with making the firm more profitable because they haven't managed to secure a loan. I really hope we get this as some sort of post-credits scene at the end of this season. I think that would be a lot of fun. Kind of like the shawarma scene from the end of the first Avengers movie. Just a fun little fan service scene, that's all I'm asking for. And so that's the end of the episode, and that's the end of the video. I would like to say that these have all been my opinions, and now I'd like to hear yours. What did you think of this episode? Did you like it? Hate it? I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know.